Hello. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Imperium Maledictum player character. This is a follow-up to my previous tutorial on how to make a character using the actual PDF sheets. So I'm going to load up Foundry. Of course, click the little Imperium Maledictum icon. Load in here. Usually there's a login screen. Click join session. Click your name in the drop down. Let's make a character. In Foundry you click the little character actor icon. Then we're going to give him a name. So a good rule of thumb, the character creation process is you don't have to do it in any particular order, just as long as you do it in an order that's comfortable for you so you get an idea of what you're doing. So I made a little quick bullet point list. So how to make a character? Most of the time I just come up with a concept first, such as I want to be a paladin, am I going to be a good paladin, a bad paladin, and then I go from there. Sometimes I roll my stats first, then I figure out what character class I like, then I go from there, and etc. So you can do it in any sort of order. For this one, we're going to think of a character concept. So, I'm playing Imperium Maledictum, Wh40k. Typically in this system, all player characters are low-level characters that serve a patron. The patron is mostly the person with all the influential power and things. So it's usually their authority that you're using to get sway over stuff. So for example, of hierarchy, you would be a guardsman, and then your patron would be like a general in the army or a commissar, something like that. And then of course the GM can always alter it based on the campaign and let you know how important you can be. You can say you're a commissar and your patron is like a more important commissar, like a lord commissar. It's all up to you guys. Well, I have an idea on what patron I'm going to be using. The patron the players have, Amelia Warren McHardy. She is a rogue trader, trade militant, and she's like a educator, so she goes around judging people and stuff. She wants someone to like negotiate with people and talk on their level, and she's often communicating with high lords and or nobles in general. So those people are often kind of snooty and stuck up. So we're going to make a noble character, someone with a noble background. So I'm just gonna put a placeholder right here, noble. So typically I open a fantasy name generators. So I like the first name Spencer and Mass. Next thing is I want him to be a noble. I'm pretty sure there's a talent for that. I do have the GM booklet right now, and there's a little thing called noble titles. So I'm gonna give that a quick. First column is prefix, next is rank, then the one after that is domain. So domain is not gonna be fitting for the location, but I'm just gonna put that there. And I'm going to change that. It says last regiment. Okay, so this right here also needs to be changed. So I actually do have a few custom regiments. One of them is the First Hawks. So I'm just gonna go with the First Hawks. Now we're gonna go into the character creation basic. So they updated their rulebook, so it's a lot more clear to go over what steps you need to do in what order. So characteristics is the next step. So the first steps is to roll 2d20 and then add 20 to them, and you put them in from left to right. If you don't like that, you rearrange them. So that means the original bonus you would get is 50 points. Then if you say you don't like where your stats are, get 25, and then you can move your stats around how you want. If you're still not happy, you can just re-roll your stats and then place them wherever you want. That means you get no EXP bonus. And if you're still not happy with that, then you should probably ask the GM to just do point buy. So I have a bunch of quick spreadsheets to help me out in Foundry. So I got my PC gen button right there. That's gonna roll literally everything. And then I'll go from there. Weapon skill, 26, 28, 27, 4, 32, 3, 29, 26, and 24. So at this rate, we're currently on the rolling for stat. We have a character concept. They are a noble who is a leader figure in the First Hawks, their homebrew regiment of the Imperial Guard. First Hawks is a regiment that's custom to my homebrew setting. What is their backstory? I'm gonna delve into that a bit more once I finish all the actual mechanical stuff. So origin is the next step. I'm happy with where my stats are, so I get a bonus of 50 EXP. Part of the Imperium Maledictum system rewards you for being completely random in your character creation process by giving you bonus EXP. If you don't like it, then you can choose your thing and lose the bonus. Some players think it's kind of annoying to have to roll randomly and then get to pick. and then if you pick, you lose EXP. So there's always the option for the GM to just homebrew that no matter what, you get the max amount of character creation EXP. Origin for this character is going to be Pharaoh Worlder. Examples of Pharaoh Worlders are basically the fauna on the world has evolved to a point to constantly attack the inhabitants, namely the humans that colonized it, as well as the flora. So basically it's the best place to recruit people from if you want to basically get a badass, because if they can survive on a Pharaoh world, they're essentially a badass right from recruitment, and you probably don't really have to train them. As you can see from the Pharaoh world starting bonuses, I have +5 in toughness, and then to either weapon skill, strength, and perception. So I'm going to up the toughness 39. I'm going to add +5 to weapon skill, strength, or perception. So this person's a noble, so I feel like they're more of like a duelist, maybe like a very uptight kind of person, someone who's like a very leadership kind of role person. So this will be weapon skill for me, because I the idea of them being good with their sword. And I have decided not to change the origin, therefore I gain the bonus EXP for that. That's 25. Next is faction. Faction is 87, so that would be Pharaoh. Then you go down until you find which role your character is going to be. So mine is 87, that's way at the bottom. Imperial Fleet, that's perfect. So she grew up on a Pharaoh world, hopped on a spaceship because, you know, she's rich. She probably has her family probably has a void ship. She's traveling around, she joins the First Talks and becomes a leader or a high-ranking officer or something like that. So Imperial Fleet it is, and as a result, they're getting 75 EXP because I have chosen not to change. So typically, things that sometimes confuse people when they're reading through the rulebook for their faction selection is they don't understand what duty is versus the giant stat block that gives you others. So I'm going to give you a quick show what that stuff looks like. This right here is what your character gets, and you pick through all that stuff. This right here means you either pick the last pistol or the pump action shotgun. Once you pick one of those two, you then move to the thing after the comma, and you select a void suit or flak vest and mag. Then you pick a las cutter or photo visor, and then you just get 500 soul. That's how selecting from that box. For the duty, these are pre-made selections up here. So essentially to help you make your character faster. So are they a pilot, officer, or armsman? I've been saying that they are in a leadership role, so they're a novice officer. Your duty is to aid in ensuring the discipline and the chain of command are maintained aboard a wedge. Though your rank is not high, you nevertheless form a vital part of the captain's command. So this is a very important point. In this system, you're not supposed to be a high-ranking character. You're supposed to be somewhat of low rank. So you typically don't really have much command over anyone. So once you pick one of these things, keep in mind that also in the duty whole block here is also part of what you get. So additionally, you have plus influence with novice, imperial eyes, and void legs talent. So don't forget to also read the duty thing itself and then pick one of these three. I'm just gonna pick novice officer just to make sure. As a novice officer, my agility increases by +5. So as a quick note for the character sheets in Foundry, I recommend you add all your character creation adjustments to your characteristics to the starting value. Only when you actually purchase a advance with EXP should you put it down here, and modifiers are things that change during the gameplay. So you're gonna come out with a pretty good well-statted character. You just have to make sure you actually put your EXP into things you actually going to use. So I entered my characteristics, now I'm on to my skill advances. You enter your skill advances, so we're gonna go to advancements at the top. We're going to go to skills, we're going to go to awareness, and click here. Click 2, navigation 1, reflexes 2. As you can see down here, it says 350. This is how much it's going to cost me to buy these, but keep in mind you get this for free in character creation. So we're just going to click submit. Go back to main. As you can see down here, I am having an EXP penalty of 350. Notice how I left the total box empty, because I'm going to zero out my EXP once I'm done entering in all the free stuff I should get. The way that you zero out your EXP in the system is that you just go in here and you just type in -350. Click submit, but I want to wait until I'm completely done so I can make sure I zero out the EXP properly. So to put in equipment, you just go to the equipment tab. So protection is the armor, and we're going to equip it. When you equip armor, that means it's no longer going to count as being encumbrance, or it's going to lower your encumbrance to the equip value automatically. I'm then also going to assign which hand my las gun is going to be in. It's going to be in the right hand, and I'm also going to note down my character's right hand. Actually, now that I think about it, the void suit is probably a piece of equipment, and this right here is my actual protection. It says light leathers. So your solars goes up here, 480. So on page 74, you'll find a randoms talents table. I usually opt to not allow players to roll on this table. But if you want to make your characters a little bit better without increasing EXP so they have better skill, talents typically give your characters more options, not just make them better at rolling at stuff. So for this, it's according to the rules in the rulebook. You're supposed to discuss with your GM to figure out what your patron would like, and then you select that. So far, that hasn't really been very successful for me, just because it just seems like a patron would basically accept anyone who's good at their job, and almost every single role I could easily argue would be functional in that duty, simply because if the players made that character how they want it, then took 100 EXP and put it into the skill points the patron needed to complete the job, they would be a satisfactory character. Ultimately, I just decided to just award everyone the bonus EXP for roll and just try to encourage them to make sure they put their EXP or all their bonuses and points into things they're actually going to use to make their plans more successful. So warriors are basically the catch-all term for person who fights. Their kit comes with the most weaponry and combat ready gear. The other roles are savant. This guy is the person who's good at machinery, so he's like the ideal tech priest role. Penumbrum is the stealth guy, stealth assassins, breaking and entry, thief, stuff like that. A mystic is basically a psyker. There's the interlocutor. This person is mostly the person who's going to be like the party face. They're good at talking to people, recording information, and dealing with the written word. There's the zealot, who is your priest, and that's it. Alright, so I have decided to go with, I think I want to do something a little bit unique because I've made kind of like warrior types, and I have never seen anyone make a zealot for some reason. So I'm going to make this person a zealot. So they're going to be a very zealous noble of the first talk. Someone to keep their holy faith in line. So at the very top, I always recommend you start at the top and work your way down. It's just easier so you don't lose track of what you're doing. So first thing is choose 2 talents. Faithful, Imperial Cult, Flagellance, Frenzy, Hatred, Icon Bearer, and Mortardrome. Talents go into the Talents tab. These right here are the boons from the patron. So I'm probably going to do Hatred or Icon Bearer. So since they're like a leader, I want them like to inspire their troops more than just, you know, be very judgy. So I'm going to go with Icon Bearer. Next is 3 advances to spend. So once again, we go to the skills tab. These are advances. So we realize we can't just, you know, enter them on this thing. So we got to click the advances button, go to skills up here. I would say discipline. So that's 1 point in that. Fortitude is the ability to like withstand poisons and other toxins. Linguistics, speaking to people. Lore, basically just knowledge. So I want to make sure my character is good at combat because, you know, this system can be quite lethal. So I'm going to put a point in melee. I'm doing 1 point in most of these things just because I like to spread my things around and make sure I have enough options. So the last thing is presence. I will probably do. Presence measures a person's ability to direct the actions of others or extract information from them. So its specializations are interrogation, intimidation, and leadership. So that's definitely the thing I need. Let's see here. Next step is specialization. Specializations, these are the things that go under your skills. We're gonna close out of that. You have 2 advances to spend on any 2 specialization in discipline, lore, and melee. Lore is typically your ability to like recall information and like solve mysteries kinda. So that might actually be kinda helpful. You can have a specialization in a skill you do not have a point in because specialization is its own like special area. I'm trying to decide between I'm gonna go with discipline because like I said, I don't want them to be afraid. Choices for discipline are composure, fear, and psyche. So I'm gonna go with fear. So linguistics, there's linguistics High Gothic. I want them to be a noble, and nobles typically speak High Gothic. By default, you can speak Low Gothic, but that doesn't mean you can write it. So I'm gonna go with High Gothic linguistic. This means I can read and write High Gothic. So that's my 2 advances. All right, next thing is the equipment. I get a knife, a great weapon of my choice. Chainsword, I prefer the chainsword. Last pistol or a hand flamer. I'm gonna go with the last pistol because I feel like this kind of fits like leadership guardsmen. They usually carry like a melee weapon and a pistol. So they're not really like a priest. So I'm probably gonna go with the heavy leather. Then I'm gonna go, I get a free holy icon. I get a Vox speed. I get a loud horror or a writing kit. I feel like I want a writing kit. Connections, page 86. Connections are basically things that you use to help you get to know other players. There are no other players here. I'm just gonna write them down. Connections kind of help with backstory too, so you can use them to like give a reason why this NPC and you are connected. I typically tell players to try to connect to each other because it helps them like work together better as a team right from the start. I could say this is a fellow PC, then I could give you a reason why their name is on it, but I'm gonna go into making a antagonist, so I'm gonna say it has my antagonist name on it. Second one is carry something that belongs to blank, and they have something in mind. I feel like, I'm not sure of the object, but I think I'm just gonna pick a character and it's gonna be Biggs. Biggs is the regimental commander of the first stocks. Last thing finally is the divination. Divination is essentially if you die and it relates to this thing, then you get bonus EXP. My divination is hatred is the Emperor's greatest gift to humanity. But if I die really hating something, then that would be great. On page 85 is characters goals. There's short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term goals are things you want to actually be able to complete in a few sessions, probably like 1 to 3 sessions or longer if you wish. And then long-term goals are stuff you really want your character to have to work towards complete. That way your character stays in play longer. And the goal for both of these things is to make sure you are rewarded for going after these goals. So they're just not something you're supposed to just set and then forget. You're supposed to actually pursue them. For example, short-term goal is take revenge on a local gang member. You need to actually name the local gang. You can't just go, I need to take revenge on a local gang member. That's not really a goal. For example here, I needed to take revenge on a local gang member by the name of Mag, because they hacked the squad prior to joining the patron. That is my short-term goal. For a long-term goal, take control of a major criminal cartel. So keep in mind, these are examples. You're not just supposed to copy and paste these. You gotta actually think them over. Figure out what your campaign is about, figure out what your patron would want, and then figure something out. If your patron is a rogue trader, and the only rogue trader in the entire sector is them, and your long-term goal is to ruin them and steal their warrant of trade, that sets you up to basically be against your patron from the start. If it looks like you're purposely sabotaging stuff, they're gonna just execute you. I would not pick that option unless you're going against an actual rival, but that's just an example. Take control of a major criminal cartel. I like where that is going, but I don't want to take over the criminal cartel. Instead, I want to bring down the criminal cartel. And I'm not just going to bring down any criminal cartel. I'm going to bring down specifically the criminal cartel Mag was part of, because they messed with my squad. And they should definitely not have done that. I have sworn vengeance against them. And now we're into spinning the XP. If you roll to randomly generate every aspect of your character, you have a glorious 200 XP to spend. So before I put in the 200 XP, I'm going to go to advancements, other, and zero out to 700. I'm going to zero it out by putting minus 700 there. Submit. Now I have 0 spent, 0 available. Now I'm going to enter 200. So there's a little chart on page 90 on how to buy advances and everything. Talents are 100 EXP. When you're improving your characteristics, it goes up by 1 point every time you purchase it. A normal human cannot raise their characteristics above 60. If I purchased an advance in agility, that's just 1 point in agility, and the character sheet will automatically charge me the appropriate amount. And your maximum in a skill is 4, and your maximum in a specialization is 4. So there's a lot of good talents in this system. That's why I saved 100 EXP. Getting a high target number is good, but talents are where the fun is, in my opinion. So I know there's a talent in here that I specifically want for this character. Talents have all sorts of requirements. I might have picked up Heir of Authority, but I don't think I meet the requirement for it. So Inheritor is the only one that has to be taken during character creation. Well, it's one of the many few that has to be taken during character creator. Inheritor basically gives you stuff that makes me more of a noble. So I have a large inheritance. So at the GM's discretion, I can claim 5,000 solars of equipment, holdings, or investments. That's about it. If you want to try playing Imperium Maledictum, leave a comment. I might run a game for you. Have a nice, bye-bye.